Originality needs courage, exploring creativity, fakes, failures, and cross-border tensions.
Talk about that.
Well, originality is a function of courage. I commented that on a few things. If you read, there are two books that I really want to mention, amazing books on the same idea. One is called Originals by Adam Grant. It's a lovely book. He's a professor at University of Pennsylvania, Wharton School. And the other one is called Range, uh, David Apstein. Originality is a function of courage. It's very hard to create anything original if you are not prepared to fail, and if you're not prepared to do lots of things which are bound to fail. So the originality, it's very hard. Take Shakespeare. You and I talk about Shakespeare because of a minority of the work that he did. If you look the if you look at the entire body of work that Shakespeare produced in his life, 70% was trash. It was just crap. He didn't like it. Nobody liked it. Never got published. They never saw the light of the day. But it was that exercise and that strength, that courage to keep producing trash after trash after trash, that you reach a point where you. Emily Dickinson is the same. Uh, uh, some of the, name some of the biggest painters. They were not able to sell. Emily Dickinson's work was never published. Some of it was never published, never read. After she died, almost all of her work was read and appreciated. And similarly, what I'm saying is that it requires a lot of courage to be creative, and the courage is required because your initial work will be boring. Uh, it will not have traction. People will criticize it. People will not read it. People will certainly not publish it. But you have to keep going, and that requires courage. And this has been documented in lots of work. I mean, you pick up any filmmaker, you pick up any writer, author, painter. It's just a function of courage. People who have courage, who can just keep going without being bothered about what people are saying and what people are criticizing, and they keep producing instead of overthinking about the work being produced and being criticized. If they can tell themselves, I produced this, people didn't like it, I don't care, I'm going to produce something else, I'll improve upon it, and they keep doing it. That's when we get original work. We would not have gotten sonnets from Shakespeare if he had not produced the whole bunch of trashy, the kind of Macbeth would not have come into being. That character, that fine tuning on characters, storylines,
I mean, what's called working your craft correctly. You got to work on your craft over and over again.
And you have to be prepared to fail. You basically have to take it as a default. When you're trying to produce something original, you're going to fail. You're going to make bad decisions, wrong decisions. You'll have bad partners. You will have partners who are not worth your partnership, who are not worth your trust. You will, you will overspend. You will, all kinds of bad decisions will happen. But if you are courageous, none of it will stop you. You'll move on. Okay, didn't work out. I'll go to the next one. You keep knocking on the door, as they say. You keep going, and all of them have keep. Shakespeare did not stop. Some of the poets did not stop. Their work was never published. And for Van Gogh, Van Gogh, nobody bought his work.
No, I mean he was a failure during his. He was a failure during his lifetime,
very
right?
little work. Almost everything came to us after he died.
Yeah.
So but he kept producing it. He kept doing it. Similarly, Emily Dickinson is one of my favorite. It was all found when she died.
Yeah.
And
Isn't that sad though? That's so sad.
It's very sad. But imagine she could have stopped doing the work. That amount of work that she produced when nobody read it, nobody saw it, nobody appreciated it. There was no Twitter, there was no link, there was nothing. She was just writing in her, and that required courage for her to keep going in the face of zero visibility, zero appreciation, zero acknowledgement. But she had produced a lot. There was enough for us to discover. My goodness, look all of the work she produced.
Yeah.
And love and honor and let it shape our life so much.
Oh, just like that Stoic philosopher, the Imperial Marcus Aurelius, supposedly those are personal journals, right? He had no intention of anyone reading it at all.
Yeah.
Just all personal journals, and
Personal journal.
yeah.
But you can't write one or two journal.
No, you have to
And
write
just
a lot.
imagine that it's gonna become a master. You have to write a lot.
Yeah.
Writing is a physical exercise. It requires. It's like exercising.
Hmm.
You know, it's like running. It's like weightlifting. It's not just.
You gotta use that muscle every day.
You have to do it every day, and you have to keep doing it no matter what people think. You have to stop thinking about what people think. That's not easy. It's very difficult because your mind is not designed like that. You think about what people think. That's what I said about when I wrote that quote.
Yeah, that's a great quote. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've seen it again and again in history. You can see in history. You can see in politics, in art certainly. There's something about being courageous that triumphs all other qualities. If you're courageous, all other weaknesses will make up for that. And if you're not courageous, it doesn't mean that you will completely lose things and that doors will not open. You may not be courageous, but you're talented. You may not be courageous, but you're privileged. You may not be courageous, but you have some gift, some talent, and you will still. But it would be very difficult to be original without being courageous. That's
Yeah,
what
I definitely agree with that. So during our pre-talk, we talked some about the relationship between India and Pakistan, right? Like I said, I don't think most people in America realize that both countries have nuclear weapons. I don't think most people in America realize that there was actually like a hot war between the two recently. Like Pakistan did something, India sent some attacks, the back and forth. Can you just talk about how the relationship was like growing up in India, like the back and forth between those two countries?
Yeah, well, culturally speaking, India and Pakistan is one single culture.
Yeah.
They were used to be one country.
Yeah, people over like Britain like cut them up like in a bad kind of way. I'm a firm believer a lot of stuff in the Middle East and India can be blamed on Britain the way they did the borders and stuff.
Yeah, and I'm sure Britain will happily take the credit. They won't even call it a blame. They'll say, yeah, we did it. It was very intentional. That was part of our strategy, and we did it so successfully. And I know that some of the British, in their private conversation, they still look at it as their achievement. Say, look what we did, man. We ruled you, and then we divided you, and you are still fighting like jokers. You keep fighting with each other. We created that rift between you, and it still works. So, and I don't disagree with that. I think they certainly have the knack to make people fight in a way that they keep fighting, even when they have left.
Yeah.
But India and Pakistan culturally are very similar country. Their culture is very same, food is same. They talk almost the same languages. It's very difficult to differentiate. If you are in Delhi and then I take you to Pakistan, to Islamabad or Karachi, you won't be able to differentiate. The way people talk, the way houses are built, the way they dress, their language, their poets are common. History is very common. They're one country. But what has happened recently is also not new. India and Pakistan have gone to war several times. There have been cross-border issues for decades. I mean, ever since the division happened, many people.
And they're fine of I think something called the Kashmir region.
Kashmir,
Okay.
yeah. Kashmir is one of the regions which is sort of a bone of contention between the two countries. But just the creation, and it happens. It's when British left, they sowed this seed of insecurity and said, you guys better sort it out, otherwise it won't work out. And for some reason, back in the day, at that time, we bought that idea. Instead of telling British that, look, we'll sort it out. Why don't you just leave? If you're not able to sort it out, we'll find a way to sort it. You don't have to divide us. You don't have to do that work. That's not your work. You have ruled us, you have butchered us, you have killed us, you have looted us. Now just leave and leave our problems to us. We'll sort it out. I wish that had happened. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. The lines were drawn on religion, and people on both sides bought what British sold, and as a result, we have this permanent enmity. Same people. Yeah, they're both nuclear powers, and the cross-border tension between India and Pakistan is also, you have to understand that there is a war economy. It's not the fight between the people. It's not like some average Indian is sitting there and trying to attack Pakistan.
No.
They have their own problems. They would rather not have this enmity. There is a war economy which benefit. New York Times has published an article on this when this escalation happened. In the end, many would argue that the war between India and Pakistan is really a war between US and China. Because it's a defense contract war. If India Pakistan goes to war, India is going to buy a lot of American defense
Mhm.
equipment, and China is going to sell a lot of it to Pakistan.
Mhm.
So it's really in the back, like a puppet show, too big power.